Hi, welcome back to fynk. I'm Sol, and today we're going to create your first template. This is where fynk brings you a lot of power, because instead of creating multiple documents that are very similar to each other over and over again, now you can create it once and then replicate it with the templates. A very common example of when it's very useful to use templates are employment contracts. Imagine if you are in an HR department, employment contracts tend to be very similar to each other, save for certain details that need to be changed, like the name of the employee, the salary, the term of the contract, and here and there maybe a clause. But other than that, the body of the contract is always the same, so why would you draft from scratch every single time that you have to create a contract, right? That's where fynk comes in. Let me show you how it works. Once you're already logged into your fynk account, you will navigate to the Templates menu. And you will create a new one, either here or up there. Here you have several options to begin drafting your own template. You can create it from scratch. You can import a document that you already have on your computer in a Word document or in a PDF document. And of course, you can also borrow some of the templates that we have in our public library. For this example, I'm going to upload a Word document. Feel free to follow along with a document that you already have on your computer. We're going to give it a name. And we're going to click here and select the document. And we create the template. Before importing your document, you can adjust the format with these suggestions that fynk gives you. And even you can see the polishometer, my favorite feature in fynk. The more you adjust, the happier the polishometer becomes. When you're happy with your document's format, you just click import and voila. Now we are inside of fynk editor. It looks just like any other text editor, but with powerful automation options. Because instead of just having static text in it, you can add dynamic fields and conditional logic to your document. Let's begin with the dynamic fields. Any information in the document that changes later, like a name, an address, the salary, a start date, you can replace it with a dynamic field. This helps because instead of manually having to edit every contract, fynk will just ask for the information automatically when creating the document from this template. Even better, if the same value appears multiple times in the contract, you only need to enter it once and fynk will update it everywhere else that it appears. To find the dynamic fields, you have to go to Document Content. And here, all of these elements are dynamic fields. You can simply drag and drop them into your document. So for example, here we have a date. We're going to drag and drop the dynamic field date. We're going to give it a name. And here you can select if you want only internal people to be able to edit this dynamic field, or if you will allow external people to fill this out. And you can also select if this field is mandatory or not. Now you see the dynamic field highlighted within the document, and we can remove this placeholder. And now you can repeat this process for any variable information in your template. Now let's talk about parties and signatories. Instead of having to type company details manually every time, you can create reusable placeholders for both internal and external parties. You go to Add Party, and you're going to add your company as an internal party. If your company is already configured in your account settings, you can select it directly from here. Then you can choose who can sign on behalf of this company. In this case, I'm going to assign myself. Next, we create the external party. In this example, it will be the future employee, so one person. At this stage, you probably don't know the name of the person yet, so we simply create a reference like employee. Once the parties are added, you can find them in the document content elements. If you scroll down, you have both parties, the internal one in yellow and the external one in blue. Now you can drag and drop these elements just like we did with the dynamic fields. If you need to edit your dynamic fields, you can double-click on them directly from the document. Or you can edit them from the dynamic content menu on your right-hand side menu. And now we go one step further. Let's say, for instance, that only sales employees receive a company car. Instead of having different separate contract versions for sales employees and for other employees, you can simply use conditions to solve this problem. Here's how they work. Within the dynamic content menu, we're going to create a yes/no dynamic field. The name is going to be sales employee. Once we have it, we can select the paragraph where the company car is mentioned. And we're going to go to the menu underneath it and select this icon, which lets us add a condition. We're going to create a new condition and give it a name so we know what it is. And in the data source, we're going to select the dynamic field that we created previously. If the dynamic field is yes, then we will see this paragraph. As you can see now, this paragraph is grayed out. It will only show if the dynamic field sales employee is clicked as yes. Once your dynamic fields and conditions are ready, it's time to publish the template. But before doing this, there are some small settings that help keep everything organized and searchable later on. So we're going to make sure that we do that now. We're going to the General menu, and here we will review which teams should have access to this template. Should the documents created from this template automatically inherit tags? All that can be done in this menu. You can add a description, a language, a type of document, the type of signature that you would like in this template. Careful here. If you select one type of signature in a template, then you're not able to change it when you create a document. This is useful for teams that want to control the type of signature that goes attached to this type of document. But if you would like more flexibility in the future, I recommend not assigning a type. You can also select what teams are allowed to use this template to create documents. In this case, we will assign it to HR. And you can add tags that will always be inherited into any document created from this template. Just like with the signature type, if you choose tags here, you can't remove them when creating a document from this template. In this case, it's safe to choose employment contract, but I won't choose any other tag to leave some flexibility. You can even add predefined messages for different actions taken in documents created from this template. For now, we're going to leave it as it is, and we're going to publish it. Now let's test this template. Let's create a document from it. As you can see, fynk guides you step by step through everything that needs to be completed. You will see the missing fields automatically highlighted. Simply enter the required information, like the employee's start date, and continue through the workflow. Now we reach our condition. If the employee works in field sales, we select yes. And instantly, the company car clause appears in the contract. See how it's no longer grayed out? That's the power of dynamic templates. Finally, we create the actual employee information, since earlier we only created a placeholder for it. And just like that, your contract's ready. No more manual formatting, no copying old versions, no searching for the latest file. Just a clean, automated workflow from template to signature. Okay, now it's your turn. Go finish creating that template that you started and create a document from it. In the next video, we will walk through the creation of that document and how we can collaborate on documents as well. See you soon.